What is up, enthusiasts? It is Cedar Flags here and welcome back to another one of my videos. Today we are going to be talking about amusement park rides that may push the envelope for even most enthusiasts. As a coaster enthusiast who has been on almost 160 different roller coasters, I have to say I've gotten pretty used to the thrill of roller coasters. But there is a thrill in some very rare rides that still scare me to this day, whether it's fear factor or just pure intensity. There are just some rides out there that are so crazy, it can even scare the most veteran of enthusiasts. And today, I wanted to dedicate a video of 10 rides that I have personally been on when it comes to roller coasters, flat rides, and water slides that still scare me to this day. This is Cedar Flags, and today, I'm going to count down the top 10 craziest rides I have ever been on. Coming in at the number 10 spot, we have a flat ride. It is the Hi-Lite Scat 2, an extremely rare model that's even more rare when it comes to permanent installations. In fact, the only documented permanent installation is at Beach Bend in Kentucky, which was the one I got to experience. This flat ride looks to be like a rotor or a gravitron, but it's rotated on a separate axis as well. Think of a ride like a rotor, but there's a separate spinner that's spinning the rotor. This is what that is, and it is one of the craziest flat rides ever. Think of the positive intensity you get on launches like Dragsters and Max Force, and times that by 20. This just feels like you are glued to your seat, and you gray out as a result. Probably the most positive G's I've ever experienced on any ride, including any roller coaster, flat ride, or water slide. Coming in at the number 9 spot, we have our first roller coaster. It is Storm Chaser at Kentucky Kingdom. Now, this roller coaster is ranked extremely high in my rankings. In fact, it is my number 2, and that is for many reasons, including its bonkers pacing. From the beginning of the ride to the very end, you are just flying every which way. And this ride really shines in its airtime moments. From the lateral airtime moments of the turnaround to the insane finale with 4 back-to-back airtime moments, this ride will knock you up and down multiple times, in a truly violent manner. This ride really does try to kill you, and you can easily tell, especially with that Trick Track double up, which will throw you every which way and provide some insane negative G's at the same time. One of the most aggressive and amazing coasters I have ever been on, and every time I get off, I am just shocked to the brim. Coming in at the next spot, we have another flat ride, and we are going to Hershey Park in Hershey, Pennsylvania to talk about the Reese's Tower. A part of the Triple Tower complex, this is the middle one. As someone who's ridden all 3, this is by far the most intense, and let me tell you why. It is an S&S double shot tower, and I've ridden a few of these, but let me just say this one was cranked up to 11, at least when I was there. Now, before I say anything, I just want to let you know that I heard a lot of people in 2021 have ridden this, and they said it was a lot less forceful, but I rode this in 2020, so I'm going to give it a perspective from then. When you shot up to the top, you got some of the most insane negative G's of your life, more intense than any RMC I have ever been on, including Storm Chaser. You go from the bottom of your seat, and your whole body just flings to the top of the over-the-shoulder restraint. It truly felt like I was being sent to space. It felt so unreal that I had to ride it multiple times just to process what happened. It really did scare me every time I got in, and is the second most intense airtime moment I've ever experienced, period. And number 1 is going to be later on this list. At the number 7 spot, we have the one and the only top thrill dragster at Cedar Point. This ride truly is a gem, and even though that its fate is currently uncertain, I still want to talk about it. This ride truly gives every single type of fear I have in a roller coaster. And ever since I first rode it in 2013, I've been scared. Every time I get on this ride, I get nervous. That holding area in between the station dispatch and the launch is truly insane. The on-ride audio, the noises that it makes, it's crazy. And once you launch, you are pressed back into your seat for a 4-second journey from 0 to 120 miles an hour. And that feeling is truly indescribable, and my favorite moment on any roller coaster because of the pure intensity and butterflies in your stomach. If that wasn't enough, you're going to get some insane positives going up the top hat, and some great negative G's and laterals as you go down the top at. It truly is the only roller coaster I could think of that takes my breath away every single time and leaves me in a state of shock at the end. At the number 6 spot, we have a pair of water slides. This is Jungle Jammer and Thrill-A-Gascar at American Dreams DreamWorks Water Park. These two 14-story water slides are the tallest water slides to feature trapdoors, and I love these trapdoors. Basically, you stand in a capsule and then a trapdoor drops beneath you. I've been on a few of these with mild drops, but these two have a drop of over 140 feet, and let me just say, that is a feeling that cannot even be described. And let me just say, it feels like sheer terror. Going down a drop 50 to 60 miles an hour on a roller coaster might feel a little mild to some of you, but when it's your bare back on a water slide, sliding down a 14-story water slide, seeing everything just rush past you, it truly is something I can't even describe in words. It is something you have to personally experience yourself because it scares the living daylights out of me, and as someone who marathoned this for a bit, it scared me every time and had my heart beating every single time. But it was so worth it in the end. At the number 5 spot, we have the one and the only Intimidator 305 at King's Dominion, what is possibly the king of intense roller coasters. Now, I said that earlier Scat 2 was more intense, but this ride has a lot more whip and a lot more variety. Going into one of the craziest elements on any ride, this amazing low to the ground right hand turn that will make you gray out or even black out. Let me tell you right now, I lost all sight during this element every single time I rode it, and the rest of the ride just feels like you are completely out of control. One moment you're swerving left and right with incredible whip and everything is blurry, the next moment you are in a high G-force element losing all your sight. It feels unhealthy, and once you're off this ride you have to take a little bit of a break. Coming in at the number 4 spot, statistically the most common ride on this list, it is the one and the only Chance Rides Zipper. This ride is everywhere. I've ridden so many flat rides and I think this might be my favorite. The creativity of the layout with the pure intensity, the flipping on this ride is incredible. Looking at it from an off-ride perspective, it doesn't look that insane, but when you're on the ride flipping constantly over and over again and rocking back and forth, you can't see anything. You can't concentrate on a single thing, and your motion is just blurry the entire ride. If you have motion sickness, just don't even think about it. But when it comes to sheer whip and incredible positive G's, this flat ride is something to marvel. Taking home the bronze spot is the one and the only Skyrush at Hershey Park. Remember when I talked about that there was an airtime moment that was more intense than the Hershey's Tower? Yeah, it's actually a few hundred feet away in the same park. And more specifically, it is Skyrush's first drop. If you were sitting in a back wing seat, it just feels like this ride's trying to murder you. You feel like you're going to be flung to your death, maybe even split in half. This ride feels like it's trying to tear you apart in the best way possible. The other airtime moments are incredible too, especially that twisted airtime moment near the end. This ride is non-stop sheer intensity, and though it feels like you're in a torture chamber, it is one of the best rides I have ever been on. And don't even get me started on the restraints. They're not bad at all. At the number 2 spot, taking the silver medal, is the Sky Coaster / Sky Sled. Now, we all know about the Sky Coaster. It basically combines hang gliding with skydiving, and it really gives off a sense of fear and free fall. For a couple seconds, you're actually free falling, which gives you the feeling that you are going to fall to your death. It truly does not feel safe, and even though it is completely safe, I get so nervous on these things, especially the one at Kennywood, where you are looking right over a lagoon. And the Sky Sled. If you don't know what a Sky Sled is, it is a very rare Sky Coaster variant where you are in a different position and you are facing the other way. You are sitting down instead of laying down, so what kind of additional thrill does this give? It's a lot more intense, and the free fall is a lot higher. In fact, I got to ride the world's tallest Sky Coaster in the Sky Sled position at Kissimmee, Florida. And going all the way up 300 feet in the air, only attached by a few cables, is a very surreal experience. You have to pull the cord, and as you are plummeting down over 300 feet with being only attached to a few wires, it gives off a feeling of sheer terror, similar to Thrilla-Gascar, where you're not really attached to that much. Coming in at the number 1 spot, a roller coaster that I will never forget when it comes to sheer fear that I had is Rail Runner at Anakeesta. This is a little known alpine coaster in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, but unlike the traditional Wygand alpine coasters, this was made by a different company that makes single rail alpine coasters. What's the difference? What makes it much scarier? A few things. 1, this coaster hugs the terrain. As opposed to the Wygand alpine coasters that go down with helixes, this one just hugs the terrain. As steep as the mountain is, this coaster will be. 2 is the very minimal restraints. You don't have much lateral protection except for a seatbelt. So when you move sideways, you feel like you're going to slide off. 3, the layout. The layout provides some of the most incredible negative and lateral G moments you will ever experience on a ride, but the difference between this and something like Skyrush is the very minimal restraint system of just a seatbelt and no lateral protection. The airtime you get on this is incredible, and you feel like you are just going to slide right off. With every lateral turn, the cart rocks the opposite way in an outward banked fashion as well, with the design of the Alpine coaster, and let me just say that is a freaky experience. You really feel like at a full speed setting, you are going to fly off this thing and cream right into the trees of Gatlinburg. This ride gives the illusion of fear and the illusion of flying right off, even though you are completely strapped in. This ride scares someone even like me, and in fact, I made a full video on this as well. Check that out in the description. But anyways, that was my video. These are rides that even scare me, and I don't get scared a lot when it comes to thrill rides. What did you think about this video? Let me know down in the comments below. This is Cedar Flags, and I'll see you all later.